Hello, welcome to a tutorial on how to use the Google Drive Assignments add-on in Schoology. One of the upgrades that came to Schoology a few years back was the ability to use Google Drive Assignments seamlessly in your assignments you create in Schoology. If you are a Google Apps for Education school, this is a really great tool to be able to use Google Docs or other Google assignments, such as slides or sheets, as assignments that you can send out to students. They will be forced to make a copy, and then you will have access to go through that feedback loop of looking at their assignments and having kids work on it while you give them suggestions, just like you would in a regular Google Doc or Google Slides or Google Sheet that is shared between two people. So I'm going to walk you through the steps of how to do that. So first thing you're going to want to make sure you do is in Google Drive, you're going to want to make a doc that you'd want to use with your students. So for my example, I just created something called Google Assignment Tutorial Doc, right? And I wrote some basic directions. Keep in mind, anything you would write in this document would be visible by the kids. So if you gave them a whole page worth of directions and tips and things to help them, they could get that as soon as they create the document on their own and they have it accessible to themselves. And they have their own kind of version of it. They can edit, they can delete the writing you put in there, but it's a great place to house some of the directions you might want kids to pay attention to, or even some of the tips and tricks that you have talked about while for a specific writing process. Could have been a mini lesson or a series of mini lessons that you've gone through that you want kids to keep in mind, or just some of the basics of a writing piece that you want kids to keep in mind, whether it's line spacing or certain grammar usage that you've gone over in class or whatever that it may be. So keep in mind that's something you can add here. One of the greatest things, this allows you to get into adding images. It allows you to get into color. As you can see, I've done this in green instead of everything just being this black and white static thing. It can be really, really useful. You can even add links if there are some videos that you want kids to hop out to be able to have access to watch a video that goes over something. All kinds of options at your fingertips, right? So I've created this and I've got it ready to go. I just have to remember what it's called. I'm going to flip over to Schoology, and in Schoology, I'm going to make a new assignment. So I'm clicking on my Add Materials icon and then Add Assignment. If you're new to Schoology, you'll see this Google Drive Assignments button down here. You may have seen it in the past and just never clicked on it because you're very used to attaching files and things like that from either resources or files you may have on your computer that you're going to want to utilize with your students. But those are typically PDFs and things like that. This is going to be that interactive assignment. So let me get started here. I will call it Google Doc Demo. I'm not going to add any description right here. You can, obviously, you have your entire editing window, as any Schoology user knows, insert content button, which is awesome, and your entire editing window and palette up here to be able to change and make your directions really clear for your students. But I'm going to click on Google Drive Assignments right here. And when you see that happening, if you've not logged into Google Drive before, you'll have to log in with your Google account associated with your school. And you're going to see, like, right up top, because it's one of the newest ones I've made, here's my Google Assignment Tutorial Doc. If I couldn't see it here because it was missing, I could go to search Google Drive, type in the name, and it will pop up. But I'm going to click on it, make sure it's highlighted. I could always view it if I need to, but I'm going to hit Attach because I know this is the correct one. So now that it's attached, you'll see this little message over here, which is key. This will create a copy of your file for each student. I'll show you how that works in a second. And right now, I'm just going to finish this off by, I'll leave it ungraded for now. You can play with your point total. This is also a really great place where you can utilize rubrics, right? I'm going to just click Google Doc, and here's a rubric that I can use with kids. If you've created a rubric, this is an extremely basic rubric, right? But you could have a very built-out, robust rubric here that you want to use for grading these. There's all kinds of options, right? So I'm going to go ahead and create. Once it's created, I'll show you what it looks like on your end, because you're going to see a big difference compared to what you're used to seeing in a Schoology assignment. If I click on Google Doc Demo, this window pops up. Very, very different looking than what you're typically going to see with a Google or with a Schoology assignment with a PDF attached or some other type of document. You'll see three places: assignment, in progress, and submissions. Your assignment is going to give you just what it is that you've assigned. You can see the document. If you click on this, it'll pop it out in a new window and you'll be able to look at it. If you have a rubric attached, as I did for this basic rubric, you could go in here and take a look at what you've got attached to it. If I click in progress, it will show me any students who are in progress here. You can flip through your sections and see which section you have people in for students. And then submissions, obviously there are no submissions because no one's started or done this yet. So I'm going to flip back over to assignment. And now we're going to look and see what it looks like for a student to have access to this document. So you'll see here, I'm on an iPad. I'm an iOS school. And what I'm going to do is flip into Schoology and show you as a student what it looks like to be accessing that document. So I clicked on my window, right, my class, and I'm going to go down to the bottom here, and I'm going to click right here on Google Doc Demo. This is what a student would be seeing. So you'll see, again, this looks very similar to the web version you look at on the teacher side of things. You've got your assignment and my document. The difference is on the teacher side, you see, in progress and submissions, where I just need to see my document. So I'm going to click, kids can see the rubric, right? There's no description, but if I put directions, this is where they would have shown up. But I'm going to click on my document. And now I'm going to see, in a second, this will pop up in this window here. There you go. This is going to be a clickable link to the document, which is going to make a copy for me. You'll see the title of the document that's going to be created is my name, the name of the document I gave, and then Schoology gives it a code. You're going to want to leave all of that alone on the student side. If they change that, it breaks this link, so it doesn't know where to find that document. It gives you your created date and your modified date. If I click here, I will get this Launch Google app icon, right? Because I'm using an iPad. If I was using a laptop, it would flip me over to my next window or my next tab with this document. But I'm going to click Open in App. It flips me over to my Google Docs app on my iPad, and it made and opened up the document. You'll see, please use this document to complete your first draft of this week's writing piece. I can click on my pen tool. I can start to write. I will move my cursor down. I'm going to take it and make sure that I'm ready to go here. I'm going to make sure my font is black so it looks different for everybody. Matter of fact, I'll go red just to make sure that it's very different. And this is the start of my draft. And I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to hit my check mark button up here. I'm going to then go back to Schoology, and I'm going to swipe down. So it doesn't look any different in Schoology. Students can always go here to find the document, but once it's created and they have their copy, what they really can do is focus on using the Google Doc that they have created in their Google Drive. So if I click on this, this is the one that I would always go to. You'll notice that if I click on the share button, it's going to show who has access, and who has access is me. In this case, it would typically show you and the teacher because, or the student and teacher, because there are two people with access to this document, right? So I am going to go back to Schoology as a student, and I'm going to show you what it looks like to submit. Okay, so before I even do that, this is on the teacher side. If I click in progress and click on me, here's my doc in progress. So you'll see that I am in two different accounts. I've got this little emoji and I've got this little emoji here, or Bitmoji, that is showing my two different accounts. I'm in my teacher account in Schoology, and this is my student account that I have. So I am using this document, and my student used this. Here's what my student wrote, or I wrote as a student. I'm going to change color again, and I'll write in green, good work. I could highlight and leave a comment or any of the things that I may want to do. Try to use your best writing. I don't know. I'm just going to add something here, and I'll add that in so you can see what it looks like on the student end. And if I open this document, you will see that I have a comment I can look at. You'll even see the cursor from my other assignment. This is going to give me my comment. If I click on it as a student, I can click resolve, I can change things, I can do whatever. My teacher also wrote good work here, so I can go in and, whatever. I can go back and forth and have that entire feedback loop that Google Docs allows for me. Once I'm finished with my writing as a student and I'm completely done and I've worked through everything and I'm happy with my stuff, what I could do is go over here and submit, right? The teacher, I'll flip back over to the teacher view, always has access to see this, but I can't grade it right now because it's not done. So I'm going to flip over to some submissions, and you'll notice there's nobody submitted yet. I will look on the student side, right? This is my iPad again as a student. I'm going to click submit. Are you sure you want to submit, right? It always asks that. I'm going to hit yes. Now that I've had a student submit work to my Google Doc demo assignment, what I'd like to do is show you how a submission looks like on your end as a teacher. So you'll notice I'm in my assignment, and if I click in progress, you'll see everyone that's in progress still. If I click over to submissions, I'll see everyone who has submitted their product. So you'll see the name of the doc and everything that I could then do in this actual assignment. And I can go in here and leave feedback and all kinds of things. I can then, once I'm done with all that, I can unsubmit. And if I unsubmit the work, it's going to give students the ability to work on it again. What they do when they submit is become commenters only. So they can't change anything, and any work they continue to do in their project or in their document is going to be looked at as a comment, which obviously shows up a little bit different in a Google Docs if you're familiar with that. So students are going to want to leave it alone until you unsubmit and send it back to them. And I'm going to go ahead and hit unsubmit. And then once I do this, it's going to leave submissions, as you can see, and go back to in progress. That student now has editing access once again to edit and change any of their work. So those are the basics. Once kids submit, you can also grade. You'll see my ability to grade is not exactly the same, just due to the way my grade book is currently set up and or in Schoology. But you'll have the option to grade the work using your rubric. It will show up in the upper corner here in the submissions tab with your assignments. You can grade them numerically or however you would want to, but that is the basic idea of workflow. Google Doc demo assignment is to create the document and attach it. You're going to want students to open it up as shown earlier in the video using the copy function and opening up in their app. And then you can have that back and forth workflow using the document. So I hope you were able to find this instructional, and you're able to then use this to send out documents for your students and have a great feedback loop and back and forth with them in any of their writing pieces, daily journal entries, or however you may decide you want to use Google assignments. Good luck in your remote learning and using your Google documents in your Schoology courses and assignments, and we will see you soon.